Hello, I'm Alif Naba from Burkina Faso. I'm a musician and I'm also promoter of REMA, African Musical Meetings, an appointment of African cultural actors in Ouagadougou, each year in Ouagadougou. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is David Alexander. I'm the Managing Director of Share Music Publishing. We represent African songwriter and publisher clients for the world and a couple of international publishing clients for the continent of Africa. I look forward to seeing you in the panel.
Hi everyone, I hope you're doing great. I'm Diran from the Republic of Mauritius in the Indian Ocean. I'm 29 years old and I'm first and foremost a music passionate. I currently work as a tour manager and a production manager for a music label and producer, Jores Books. I'm also the ambassador for the MOMIX, Mauritius Music Expo, which is the only music market in Mauritius. And it is my great honor and pleasure to be able to participate as a contributor in this regional network session. Hopefully you'll be able to learn from me as much as I'm going to learn from you.
Hello everyone, my name is Derek. I'm one of the co-founders of Nyege Nyege, a music incubator based out of Kampala that is both a space that welcomes artists for development, training and access to production infrastructure, as well as collaborations. We currently have 16 artists in residence during the COVID. The artists work on music that is later on relayed through 2 record labels, Akuna Kulala and Nyege Nyege Tapes, as well as an international music festival held every year in September on the banks of the Nile called Nyege Nyege Festival. We also offer publishing opportunities and distribution opportunities to our artists, as well as management. And over the last 5 years, we've supported over 150 artists who are now touring globally. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Dr. Sipho Sithole, the founder and owner of Native Rhythms Productions and Native Rhythms Records in South Africa. I'm happy to announce that I will be a contributor in the East African Performing Arts and Baimba Music Foundation, otherwise known as the DOADOA Music Market, as part of the Global Toronto 2020, which is now going virtual, as we'll be looking and unpacking some of the challenges that are facing the cultural and creative sector. And I guess in my experience as a participating person in this sector, I'll be able to share what we are also doing in South Africa with regard to resolving and easing the financial burden that our cultural and creative sector is facing. And I'm hoping to see you on the 28th of July at 2 p.m. East African time in Uganda. Bye-bye.
Hello, my name is Imed Ali B. From Tunisia and France. I'm artistic director of the Carthage International Festival in Tunisia and a part of different festivals in the Mediterranean as a music consultant. I'm also percussionist, composer and musician. I'm very happy to be with you for the Global Toronto meeting. See you soon. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Jix Thorne, Bushfire Festival Director. Bushfire is held in Eswatini, formerly Swaziland, a small country sandwiched between Mozambique and South Africa in the Southern Hemisphere. Bushfire has been going on for 14 editions. We attract in the region of about 30,000 people. We have a very strong call to action mandate and we ask people to bring their fire to Bushfire. Bringing your fire is about a collective response for positive social change, and we use the creative platform to engage a range of pertinent and relevant issues that need to be attended to.
Je suis Luc Yachoke, je vis et je travaille au Cameroun. Je suis le président du Conseil camerounais de la musique, fondateur et directeur du marché des musiques d'Afrique, le Colatier. J'ai également initié la plateforme de coopération et d'échange culturel en Afrique, Art Connect Africa, dont j'assure la coordination. Cette plateforme vise à encourager les connexions entre les acteurs culturels africains et au-delà. Je suis également souvent invité à contribuer aux rencontres culturelles structurantes à travers l'Afrique et ailleurs.
Hi, my name is Marcus Gora. I am a creative entrepreneur from Harare, Zimbabwe. I work with a company called Ngomane Ohosho, which is designed to promote emerging talent and also to build industry potential across creative disciplines in Zimbabwe and beyond. My primary work is I manage a festival called Jacaranda Music Festival, which we hold annually in October, and I'm also a band manager for a group that is award-winning and tours quite a lot, which is called Mukumba from Victoria Falls in Zimbabwe. Thank you.
Hello everybody, my name is Malaku Balai. I'm from Ethiopia, inside Africa, and now we are inside Fundika Cultural Center. So we are now painting exhibition in a monthly, and we have also poetry, and we have also jazz, original arrangement, and also we have indigenous called Azmari music. Of course, we have every second Friday also behind me what you see, Ethio Color band. Ethio Color band is, you can see 3 generations at the same time, and also the expression and contribute to give the future and the new generation as much we can. We learn from the past, and the moment we try to give the energy. We do, and it's not our goal, we say it, not to best of the best, just to be express our feeling and energy to give, because we take a lot of energy, and to wish peace and love.
Hello, my name is Shaban Ramazan. I am founder, CEO, festival director at Marhaba Music Expo in Burundi. I am also a professional musician. I participate in different projects around East Africa, Africa and Europe. I'm very happy to be part of this network. Thank you very much.
Hello everyone. I wish all the people of the world recover from the COVID-19. My name is Stephen Pirochala. I'm the founder of Europa Cultural Foundation based in Juba, South Sudan. And we are doing a lot of the music and dance training for young people. Also, we are managing every year a festival called Nature Arts Festival. This like just platform for the young people also to showcase, and also like platform for those talented artists from South Sudan, also from the neighborhood country, also to come also to participate with us in South Sudan in Juba. This is our main objective. And then also we're doing now, we're establishing new arts academy. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Trésor Mpaouni. I am also known as Menes La Plume. I'm a spoken word artist and a performer. I am also the founder and director of the Tumaini Festival, which is a music and cultural event happening at the refugee camp in Malawi. Tumaini Festival aims to promote peaceful coexistence between refugees and the host communities, and also boosting the economy of refugees here in Malawi. I'm so excited to be part of this and looking forward to be among you all. Thank you very much and stay safe.
Yannick Drick is my name. I am the artistic director of Chad Music Expo, an event in the format of international fair dedicated to music industry professionals from Chad and around the world, which take place in Jamena. In addition, I am the president of the Chad Art for World Association, which works to equip artists from Central Africa and Chad with the necessary element to develop their careers and export their art. Regarding the theme that will be discussed, we will share with you during the Global Toronto 2020 our experience of Chad and Central Africa. Merci bien à DOADOA et à Global Toronto.
Assalamu alaikum and greetings from Zanzibar, Tanzania. My name is Yusuf Mahmoud. I'm the founder and director of the Sauti za Busara Festival that brings people together in celebration every year during February. Music makes the world a better place, and especially African music. Musicians communicate with people of all backgrounds. In celebrating cultural diversity, African music builds unity across borders and hope for a better world. 400 groups from across Africa and beyond have performed at our festival, 100% live, from Dar to Dakar, from Cape Town to Casablanca. It's a pleasure to see the joy that these musicians bring to our audiences.
Everyone, how are you doing? My name is Eddie, Director of the Music in Africa Foundation, a Pan-African organization working in many African countries. I'm based here in South Africa, and I'm here to say I look very much forward to seeing everyone at the Global Toronto event taking place on 27 July, where we are talking survival of the music industry after the COVID pandemic. See you there.
Hi, my name is Jerome Galabert. I am currently the founder and director of Sakifo Music Festival in Reunion Island. I also coordinate IOMA, which is Indian Ocean Music Market. It's a conference that also takes place in Reunion Island. I run Sakifo Talent, which is an agency that is both label, booking, and publishing. This is among all the different activities that we have.
Hi, my name is Pepe Lumbele. I'm the project manager of the Music Imbizo, which is a music business conference based in Durban, South Africa. We've been running for the past 11 years. This year it will be our 12th year. It always happens in August, at the last week of August, this year from the 26th to the 29th of August. What I do, I'm a project manager, like I said, and the founder of the Music Imbizo, but I'm also an IT graduate. I dabble a bit in some IT work now and again. The music industry, other than being a project manager, I'm also part of a group of people that offer label services to a number of other companies in the music industry. We do quite a bit of work around the country, and only recently just ventured out into seeking greener pastures in neighboring countries like Botswana. That is me, Pepe Lumbele.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Stanley Koza, all the way from South Africa. I'm a specialized professional within the music business. I'm the Vice President of the Association of Independent Record Companies of South Africa. I sit as the interim chairperson of Mushito, which is Africa's premium music market. On a daily basis, my job entails assisting artists, record companies, and stakeholders of the music business on issues such as contracts, licensing, rights management, royalties, and other related matters of the industry. Key to it all, it's my passion and interest on the development of the South African music industry and the African music industry region at large. My participation here, it's purely just to advance each other's knowledge and to share as much as we can. I thank you.
Hello, my name is Vianney Isimo. Currently, I'm the co-president of the Board of Trustees of the Amani Festival. Prior to that, I was the partnerships manager for the same festival. The Amani Festival is using music and art to promote and celebrate peace, reconciliation, and diversity in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. Every year, we brought together more than 30 people to celebrate peace, reconciliation, and a hope for a better future and also to promote entrepreneurship. We are happy to invite you next year in February 2021 to celebrate with us in Goma peace, reconciliation, and a better future. Thank you.
Yes, hello everyone. Welcome to the regional network space for Africa, and we are here to discuss the post-pandemic African music industry, to understand the use, value, opportunities, and challenges of the cyberspace, plans to go online, and the adaptability of our events in the local context, the future of live music, new ways of running festivals, markets, agencies, labels, venues, education, distribution, and publication in the post-pandemic time. And now that you've watched the promo video to understand who each of our panelists are, we have 25 contributors from various African countries that will be contributing and submitting today, this afternoon, if you're in East African time, or that morning on another time zone. And without any further ado, I would like to start from my own country, Uganda, with Derek Debru, who is running Nyege Nyege Festival in Uganda in the eastern part, Jinja, and he also works with Nyege Nyege Tapes and Hakuna Kulala, which are both labels that are doing amazing work with amazing artists here and around the world. Welcome, Derek. We are interested in knowing how you are coping and how you plan to host your festival this year online, and how that is working for you.
Yeah, thanks, Herman, for this invitation. Hello, everyone. So for us in the beginning, I think, first of all, because we have an artist incubator here, so that includes a lot of bookings, and we lost over 100 bookings for our artists. So that was the first sort of difficulty, to readjust a little bit from an artist perspective on how to deal with the situation. And in the beginning, the digital just didn't interest us that much. There's just a lot of free content. The monetization is very blurry. And so initially, maybe also our own generation is used to, life before internet, that a concert should be something that's experienced physically. And I guess a month and a half, 2 months down the line, when we also started to get a few more commissions for our artists, for specific showcases, that we realized that actually this is a new world, that there's no escaping it. And in terms of revenues, one should look beyond performance. So for us, it took a lot of time to sort of reconsolidate certain things, but eventually we found out that for the festival, collaborations is really where things are going. And collaborations are more easy now through the digital space, something we'd been doing before. And so we've seen a lot more. We have our studios here, so artists, of course, having to produce new works, but also being more involved with other artists across the continent or outside of the continent with regard to projects. So that's been really positive. Another learning curve has been our sort of activity on the digital space. And we found that quality is really at the center of it, whether it's sound, video, or having compelling content that can sort of guide viewership and especially retain it, because that's a little bit the challenge. And then for the festival, we've decided to go ahead with a sort of phygital format that is a hybrid between the physical and the digital. There's going to be our event here in Uganda that will be determined physically in the next coming weeks, but it's probably going to be sort of satellite events, possibly just house events, a little bit like if people would watch the World Cup, for example, or a big show online, and that not everybody can be together, but there's still the importance of being together with whoever we can be together. And then we've reached out to about 30 collectives on the continent, arts collectives like ourselves, performance arts, music, party collectives, labels, curators that are all going to create content for the festival. Exclusive content that will be streamed live, and we'll aim at playing around a little bit with what's live and what's not, and with a couple of sort of surprises and happenings and different things happening. And we also have a couple of collectives on centric, notably Underground Resistance, the techno sort of pioneers from Detroit, and the Principe Discs from Lisbon, as well as Al-Hara Radio, based out of Palestine, and a couple of others. So, but this is very experimental for us. In terms of revenue, we're probably going to launch a digital ticket in the next week. So we've also been a bit delayed because everything happens, everything changes all the time. Technology changes all the time. Sponsors are pulling out because they're trying to understand, where their position is. So the platforms have to be built. So everything is just a little bit in the moment, and we consider this more as a giant experiment. And hopefully there's going to be a lot of momentum being gained by connecting with all these different collectives and sort of build on that. So the platform will remain after the festival. It'll be a permanent platform that will continue to be developed and will be made available to other collectives that wish to have events. So in the sort of know-how that we gather, we hope that that's something that we'll be able to spread, because what we found is our situation is very similar to a lot of situations on the continent. And obviously some of them are also much more complicated. For example, in Ethiopia, they've not had internet for the last 3 weeks. They just came back on. The government shut it down. In Mali, there's a revolution going on. In South Africa, I think the COVID is rampant. So access to internet is also a big issue, whether it's receiving the content, because we will have satellite parties during the festival that will sort of stream the content in physical spaces. But the speed and the cost of internet here in Uganda for attending our festival, it's about $25 of just cost of internet. So these are also problematics that we're trying to tackle. So we're just a little bit in the middle of everything, and trying to go as best as we can. We've also doing a partnership with MIDEM, the French music market, who we also found that in terms of music markets, to have it digitally presents like great opportunities. And so we're inviting MIDEM to basically host the digital Spotlight on East Africa showcases, panels, and hopefully a lot of business meetings, because obviously today digital strategy is at the forefront of our activities. We have to be present, and as East Africa, we found that we've been a little bit off the radar for a while. In terms of the mostly global players, mainstream sort of actors, that this is a little bit how we're considered, as opposed to Nigeria or South Africa, who we've seen have really have thriving industries. So that's also something we want for our region, and this is why we thought this year is a good time to invite such a partner, because as an experience, the bookers and the industry players don't tend to fly in as easily when they don't see business. So we thought that this would be a good opportunity to invite that network for a very specific and focused spotlight on our region, whether it's the genres of music, but also our challenges, our opportunities. And yeah, I think this is a little bit where we stand right now. I don't know, I think I cut my time.
Thanks, Derek. I think you pretty much dealt with everything that I had highlighted, and thanks a lot If anyone has a question for Derek, feel free to pop it up in the chat, or feel free to keep it for the few minutes that we'll have towards the end. I want to go further down and invite Mike Strano from Kenya, who is running Ongea Africa, as well as FAT Music and Entertainment. Yes, Mike, I would like to know how you are coping and how you are utilizing the cyberspace during these times to do your work, and if how are things looking for you post this period? How is Ongea going to happen next year in early Feb? Yeah. And you know, the other work that you're doing. Also, I know that you're working with Share Publishing Africa. Yeah, so we're eager to know.
Thank you, Herman. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity. I guess we're coping as well as anyone else. Fortunately, pre-pandemic, we had just closed on a contract for the Creative Africa program, which is going to be held in Kigali now next year for the Intra-Africa Trade Fair by Afrexim Bank. So that was moved by a year from September this year to September next year. But we're bringing some of those, some parts of the program for the creative industry, generally, not just music, online. We're starting with a songwriting masterclass this coming Thursday, actually, with Vincent Berry, who is a Grammy award-winning and nominated songwriter. So we're able to continue offering our services to the music industry and to the creative industry at large as part of this program and as a continuation of our own initiatives. So it's good to be in a position to be able to help at this point in time. In saying that, as a company, we've been working at home since 13th of March, which has been interesting for us as a team, but it showed that there's a different way of working. And it's going to be interesting how we continue to work post-pandemic. I think there'll be some aspects that we will retain. In terms of Ongea, we are really unsure. Thankfully, because of this other project we're working on, and we're putting a lot of time into it, we're still able to deliver on some of our objectives for Ongea, for the entire music industry and the creative industry at large, and broaden our scope. Ongea is an Eastern African scope. This new event is a Pan-African scope and a pan-creative industry scope as well. So for now, officially, Ongea is on hold. There are many different aspects, many different considerations. For those who don't know, Ongea, it's a trade showcase and learning event. It started as Kenya Music Week for 10 years and then continued as Ongea for 5 years. We've done 15 years in total. It's held at Sarat Center and it has a new convention center, which is quite pricey to hire. And without the support of exhibitors and sponsors, it's because the event is free, it's not easy to deliver. So in February, where Kenya may have the pandemic under control, we still don't know what that means for our industry in terms of those who can afford to exhibit after not having worked for 6 months or longer. And also sponsors, we don't know where their mindset will be as well. So probably in the next quarter, we'll just start feeling out to see. It usually takes us about 3 months to prepare for the event. So we'll just see what the appetite is in the market to do a live in-person event or a virtual event or a hybrid. But we haven't yet made a decision. Our efforts at the moment are going, everything is going into this other event and the build up to it, including a lot of online webinars and masterclasses.
And just in 1 minute, there might be people out there watching or listening that are interested in knowing the landscape in Kenya right now. What is going on? Are there any possibilities of having live shows, whether on a small scale or medium scale? What is the situation like for the live music industry?
So the event industry is slowly opening up. I'm a member of Event Managers Association of Kenya. One of our members today is doing an event, but it's a government event. As in terms of live events and for entertainment, so all events need to get a permit. We still have a curfew in place as well. Our curfew now was revised down yesterday from 9 p.m. down to 7 p.m. So there are some venues that have started some events, afternoon events with DJs and live band, but they're only a handful. In terms of major concerts and major live shows in the usual venues, they're still not happening. The recent directive yesterday is that there's a ban on alcohol on all bars. So essentially, bars will only open as restaurants if they are opening at all. So we're not close, at least for the next 30 days. We're not close to any sense of normalcy. In saying that, the industry has really tried to put a lot of events online through various initiatives, through some an event like Karoga Festival, for example, that was a known outdoor event for the last few years. They've taken it was every 2 months. They're now doing things, every 2 to 4 weeks online. Once a week, we have live music on a Sunday online as well. There's Concert Nyumbani that started with the Kenya Film Commission, which is a different mixture of arts, performance arts. That's every Sunday, which is on TV and online as well. So the industry is trying to maintain relevance and obviously also entertain people, which is important as a stress reliever during this time.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Mike,
You're welcome.
for your contribution, and I'm sure people have managed to grasp a lot from what's happening in Nairobi and the work that you're doing. Now to Tanzania, to the beautiful island of Zanzibar. Yes, Yusuf Mahmood, let us know, how are you? What is going on with Busara promotions and Sauti za Busara Festival? I've been seeing the call. I hope other people have been receiving it as well. How are you planning to approach the festival in Feb? How are you doing your other work under the promotions? And what is the general landscape like in Tanzania at the moment for people out there?
Thank you, Herman. Hello, Africa. Good morning, Toronto. Hello, world. Greetings from Zanzibar, and thank you for including us in this discussion. Our festival, Sauti za Busara, showcases African music from across the continent in February every year. It's 4 days with 3 stages, 44 shows, industry networking for professionals, and so on. And I think it's a really important platform for freedom of expression, for building respect for diversity. About 800 people are employed each year, and the economic benefits to Zanzibar are around $10 million around the time of the festival. So it's really a big worry. How are we going about it? As you mentioned, we have our call for artists out. We've received several hundred applications. There's a few more days left because the deadline is 31st of July, midnight East Africa time. So if there's any African artists interested, Karibu, welcome sana very much. As far as COVID-19 goes, in Tanzania, we've been blessed. We thank God because we haven't been affected as most other countries. We've had no lockdown here. The official death count since March is 21 people. We see, honestly, life going on fairly much as normal for people here in Zanzibar and Tanzania. The flights are opening up and hotels are starting to open again, which is good because Zanzibar is an island where a lot of people depend on tourism for employment, and the economy has been completely decimated. Most people have been out of work since March, and there's no government support for unemployed people, as in much of Africa. So, yeah, I think live music events, of course, have been cancelled here and across the world until recently. But travel and crowd restrictions still impact musicians and professionals in our industry greatly. So people are struggling to feed their families. We are planning to go ahead with the festival in February. I can say, of course, our priority is the safety of artists, of audiences, of the Tanzanian population and everyone involved in putting on this big event. So we're keeping a close eye on the situation, and we are planning to go ahead in February because we think the festival is a really important part in helping to regain our social and economic recovery. As Derek said, the fundraising landscape has changed. It's becoming more and more difficult every year, but particularly this year, to raise funds from donors and sponsors. So we may be forced to make the festival smaller. Normally it's a 4-day event with 3 stages. We're thinking if worst comes to the worst, we'll still have a festival, but it might be a 2-day event with more of the performances and programming geared towards local people, Tanzanians, rather than the international community who normally make up about 50% of the audience. We're not really prepared to replace Sauti za Busara with a virtual online event as such, because the festival is all about celebration and energy and vibe and excitement. And we don't think that really is replicated online. And also, of course, as I mentioned, the jobs, it provides 800 more jobs for artists, for traders, for crew, and so on. And these people don't really benefit from online versions of these events. If we do have the festival, we're not really prepared to enforce social distancing with 2 meters apart, people dancing and so on. I don't think that makes sense, but Tanzania has been declared COVID-free. I'm not sure if it's really COVID-free. Maybe there are a lot of people who have had the virus here, but the symptoms that we're seeing, if they are there, are really mild. The problem is very few people are getting tested, so it's hard to know exactly how many people are positive or negative. But what we are sure of is the number of deaths have been very, very few, or even serious illness. So we thank God for that.
And one more thing with the venues. What is the situation with the venues, either in Zanzibar or in Tanzania in general? Are there restrictions that have been put on these venues? Are they closed now that your governments have declared that you're COVID-free? Are the venues open? Are people starting to plan events within those venues?
Yes, schools went back a few weeks ago, and venues have been open for the last couple of weeks, which is great because Eid al-Hajj is just coming, so it's a time of big celebrations this weekend. There are very few tourists on the streets, so the venues are much more caring for the audience, which is nice. But yeah, I've been to concerts in the last couple of weeks, and some people are wearing masks, but very few. And life, as I said, is pretty much, I could say, back to normal in this very local context.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Yusuf. That was very informative. Let's now head down to our neighbors in the Congo, in Goma. And I would like to invite Vianney Bisima from Amani Festival in Goma to let us know what they're planning, what they intend to do with the festival. Are they, have they cancelled? Are they going, online? Are they waiting to see if they can do it physically the same way they've always had it? And also, what is the situation in Congo at the moment? Are you on lockdown? Are you open? What is the situation? Are events happening? Are venues open? What is also the situation of the people that are working within the creative, within the music industry in Congo and in Goma?
Yeah, thank you. Hi, everyone from wherever you are listening to us. And thank you for this time to share together. And it's really interesting to hear from others, because you find that you are not yourself alone facing those kind of challenging moments. And also you are also learning some ideas from others. So thank you again for this opportunity. So as you know, the Amani Festival, we have mostly a kind of the same way of working as the Busara Festival. Our Amani Festival took place every February for every year. Last February was our 7th edition, and we were lucky because the pandemic just started after we finished our last edition. This is not new to us because we did our last festival during the Ebola crisis, which was really very hard because we had to put in place very huge measures in terms of health and protection for people participating to the festival. So every year we are hosting around 55,000 people in Goma, coming from DRC, the Great Lakes region, and many other places in the world. And we have a line with international, local, and regional artists. And our aim, our purpose is mostly to celebrate peace, diversity, and also to try to push entrepreneurship. So generally for now in DRC, we are still under the lockdown, but mostly for the flights and other kind of huge events. At the beginning of August, we will start unlocking some key events. Since last week, people are now able to meet at coffee, at bars, in churches, and many other places. And from August the 15th, people will be also able to travel. Borders will reopen. So we are planning our next festival in February 2021. And we are now working on it. Every year, getting funds and donors is becoming a challenge. And we think that also it will be a big challenge for this year too, and for the next festival. Some of our donors are really present, and they want really to support us during that moment. We believe, and all the people with whom we organize the festival believe, that this is the moment where we should find ways to have the festival done, wherever is the ways, but we should really work hard, because after Ebola, after the pandemic and some crises continuing, this is the moment also to share. This is the moment also to give hope. So what we are planning to do is to have a physical event in February next year. But mostly we are going to focus on local and regional artists, because as you know, it's very easy to have them in. You know, artists coming from Tanzania, from Uganda, or Kenya, or Rwanda, or Burundi, they can easily cross the border and come to DRC. It not requires, you know, very long flights, and is not very expensive. And most of them are used to the region, so they can easily come, and also to promote local artists from Goma and from other places in DRC. We will probably have 1 or 2 international artists in case, but we are not going to push on that, because from now to January, a lot of things can happen. Our plan B is to have a hybrid model where we can combine a physical festival with very few attenders with online activities. Mostly, it will be to reduce the number of people in the festival place, and to work with local TV, local radio, and to use other social media to broadcast, and to have many other people following up the festival online. This is mostly our plan B. Our plan C could be now move to an online festival. It will be very hard, because people we are targeting mostly do not have access to internet. It will be so very hard for them. Otherwise, we could find ways to work with medias to try to use local radio and TV to cover the festival. It also will be the first time we are going to use digital tools this much, since we have started in 2012. So we are learning a lot, and still looking for opportunity to learn and to increase our capacities on using those channels. So this is an opportunity also to call up for some friends online here, for any opportunity to learn from you on how we can really use digital and to promote that festival, and to touch a lot of people. It will be also interesting. So this is how we are planning, and we are also working on our different plans and strategies. We are also working with artists to try to understand how they are going through these events. Most of the local artists are really facing hard times, because, you know, bars were closed, there is no events, no opportunity together. So they was really going through hard moments, especially financially. So we are discussing also with them on how we can find ways to support their work. So globally, this is how we are seeing our festival, and how DRC is dealing with the pandemic.
Thank you very much, Bisima. And now I will invite Stephen Ochala from South Sudan, from Juba, who runs the Urupap Nature Arts Festival, as well as the Urupap Culture Center. welcome Stephen. Would like to know how the situation is in South Sudan. Are you doing your festival this year? What plans are you having? Are you going online, or are you waiting to do it physically? And what is the situation in Juba right now with the venues, with events? Are people gathering? Are people on lockdown? What is the situation looking like? Do you have curfews like we have here, 7 p.m. to 6 a.m.? Yeah, welcome. Stephen, can you hear us? Yes. Perfect.
I hear you. Now it's okay?
Now it's okay.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Herman. And also I want to say hello to everyone here today, because for me this is the first time with our artists or our managers from different countries. Yeah, we are like look like the rest in our situation as artists. In Juba, as we know, all of us did this corona things like everything, and we just, especially for us as Group Nature Arts Festival, we are doing every one time a year in December. Also, we invite people from different categories. We're doing like mixed music and dance together in one show or in one festival. Yeah, the last year we managed to invite artists from Yemen and also from Uganda, from Bemba. And also we're doing like, when we invite you, we're doing like workshops, music workshops, so to learn and teach also experience that you have from your own country. So because we are focusing, give space for the new generation, the young artists, those are talented, and also they don't have much experience to play live.
And are you doing the festival live?
Yes, doing live.
Going,
yeah, for now we are just planning to, because for the last 2 weeks the government appointed like the new what do you call the headquarters of the states, ministers, and then also they allow people come out to celebrate. That means we have to invite artists to come to play music. And we hope that also if our plan this year we're going to do in live, because we don't have much experience in that what we call the digital ways that we can do like on live on streaming. Perhaps is really very difficult. But because also because of the distance, we have tried to build like a way how people can enter to the festival, how they're gonna sit, how they're gonna enjoy themselves. Because in our culture, normally, if they're fun, they're happy, and they like the music, they come to you. You know, they dance with you. That is also a big problem. Pandemic way that people do not allow to teach or to touch each other. Yeah, but now we are planning to make it maybe very small, because every year we're doing it at the basketball festival stadium, a big event, a big venue. But now we're trying just to minimize first of all the venue, and also the artists, because we're doing music and dance. And now we're planning to make like focus on the women music. Maybe it will be just few artists will be participating at the festival.
Okay, thank you very much, Stephen. I think we could now head to Southern Africa. And I would like to start with Dr. Sipho Sithole to let us know, one, about native rhythms, and two, Afrocentric. How are you running with all this, and what do you have in stock and planning? How are your artists? And also to let us know how Wachata TV is faring. I've seen a few shows of that. It looks great, but in terms of the whole initiative, is it working? What is the reach? Is it the way to go if people want to sort of adapt that? Yeah, thank you.
No, thanks. Thanks, Herman. And it's nice to see familiar faces. It just tells us that the fourth industrial revolution is here, because here we are having a virtual discussion and talking to a number of people across the continent and throughout, and hopefully we are being watched throughout the globe. And also thanks to Global Toronto for making this possible. I was looking forward to be there in May, but of course it did not happen. Herman, please allow me to first just give you the macro perspective of what our country is going through, rather than talking more specifically about what we're doing here. As one would know, is that we are the cultural and creative hub on this continent. And we just did a study. It was issued, I think, in June to the public about just how the value of the cultural and creative industries, where this industry as a whole just contributes 74.3 billion rands to the country's GDP. Now I'm talking about the entire cultural and creative industries, and it employs about 1.3 million people across the sector, whether it's in music or it's in film or design or crafts. And it is the fastest growing sector in South Africa at 2.4% growth rate between 2016 and 2018. And this pandemic has had a huge impact in terms of the very same sector and the people it employs, particularly because it is very informal. Most people are freelancers. So when government announced the total lockdown and the restrictions around COVID about having events or not having events or not having a gathering of so many people, so the people who would mostly be affected by this were in fact the cultural and creative workers. And this country has got many festivals, whether it's the Cape Town Jazz, which is one of the biggest festivals in the world, whether it's the Standard Bank of Jazz in Johannesburg and many others. It then meant that all of this was to be halted. But government also came up with some interventions. We engaged with government just to highlight to them the impact that this would have on the creative sector, particularly because of the informality of the economy. And government introduced some relief measures just to lessen the financial burden on the arts itself. So they announced a relief for the arts, and luckily I've been involved assisting the Department of Sport, Arts and Culture in making sure that those that deserve to get this relief do get the relief. The relief was in two forms. One, people who had lost jobs because of the cancellation of gigs, so long as they could prove that they had a booking and they had a contract and they had a letter of cancellation, they qualified, and then they were given relief. And then the other one was proposals, where then the Department of Arts and Culture then said, because we are the cultural and the creative sector, come up with creative proposals that can have the show going on. Because we said to government that the show must go on with or without audiences. So a number of digital proposals were submitted by the sector, whether it's art exhibition, or it's a DJ lockdown party, or it's master workshops on painting, or it's poetry, dance, comedy, music and all of that. All of those things were then proposed. And at the last count, the department had processed and successfully granted over 200 just ideas, digital ideas for online shows and online performances. So what that meant, it then meant that at least the people who would have been severely affected by this would continue to have some form of income one way or the other because they got booked. And from Native Rhythms and Afrocentric Agency, as a talent agency, of course we have been affected because there are no bookings. You know, we just released an artist by the name of Buhle Bendalo from The Soil to critical acclaim. She was topping the iTunes or Apple charts for 2 weeks. But of course, I was saying to my wife, this is the time, if we do not have lockdown, we'll be getting calls every day in the office for bookings at corporate events, at festivals and concerts. But of course, that has not happened. But luckily, she has been booked, or some of our artists have been booked for some online performances, but not at the scale or even the value that one would have preferred to see. And coincidentally, I then bought in a stake into a virtual streaming platform called Watcher TV. And this Watcher TV had been in existence since 2014, so it did not arise out of COVID and the lockdown. And the philosophy and the values of the company were sort of aligned with particularly myself. So besides the work that Watcher TV has been doing, it also has clients with retailers as their in-house communication. We have done a lot of concerts since May. We started with the International Jazz Day concert, which had 4 artists in 4 cities and 2 countries. We had Tutu Puan in Belgium streaming live. We had an artist in East London, one in Cape Town and one in Johannesburg. And since then, we've got quite a number of concerts. And it's a new thing, and people are warming up into it. We have averaged about 1,000 people watching or buying into the stream. And I will leave Johannesburg for the first time since February for a showcase of Ladysmith Black Mambazo, whom you all know, 5-time Grammy Award-winning group from South Africa, where we will be streaming live at the Durban Playhouse this coming Friday, the 31st, at 18:30 GMT time. We are also now venturing into partnerships with Watcher TV in the continent, and I see Mr. Paulo Shibanga is here. He's going to be our partner for Watcher TV Mozambique, and also Buddha Blaze in Kenya. We are going to be opening Watcher TV Kenya. We are also hosting concerts on behalf of other producers on our platform. So there's always concerts on the Watcher TV platform. We've also entered into a partnership with Tixa, one of the ticketing companies that also does its own concerts. For instance, we'll be streaming some concerts for them to South African expatriates in Dubai and Canada in the next few months. So particularly myself, I am excited in the sense that there's going to be a dual economy in this sector, one that is physical and the one that is digital. Dual in the sense that you can now do a show. Once people warm up into live streaming, you can do a show of Java live in Johannesburg and still be seen by people in Cape Town who cannot travel to come and see a show, a physical show. So there are opportunities for the arts to expand and reach out to new audiences. I mean, for instance, we are selling Ladies Black Mambazo right now all over the world to be seen. We are just praying that people will see and will buy into the concert. So it's not all doom and gloom. Must say that I am particularly worried about people bringing in COVID to countries that are COVID-free right now. So it's nice for us as promoters to say, I am going to have a show, but you're going to open the borders. South Africa is now number 5, as Jerome was saying, on the list of highly affected countries with COVID. What's going to happen now if I want to come and see a concert in Tanzania, in Reunion Island, and I'm now bringing this disease to people who otherwise would have still stayed free? So we have to be very circumspect about, because this disease is real, it's killing people. South Africa is now 7,000 people dead, and it's growing. And it's the level of sensitivity around the spread of this virus is real. So let me end there. That was just my input, but again, thank you very much for inviting me to make a contribution.
And just in 1 minute or even less than that, with all the beauty or all the possibilities that you've shared, for example, with Watcher TV, and thanks for sharing that report from South Africa. What is your, I know that you recently, not recently, but a few months ago, weeks ago, you were gathering sort of content from artists and events that were cancelled. How are things looking like? How many people have lost their jobs? People that have been, a rough estimate of how many people that work within the music sector or industry that have lost their job and, jobs.
Okay, yeah. Let me just quickly give you just a quick stat. Live music revenue in this country last year was at 1.5 billion rands, and that was there were prospects for this to go up to 1.6 this year. So you can already tell, without me even giving you the numbers, that those concerts, the income, the revenue that would have been generated from live music, live festivals, is gone. So it is a huge impact. I did say that the industry self-employs 1.3 million people, which is 7% of total employment in this country, and a big chunk of that is the music industry. So there are lost jobs, and as I have been involved with government in terms of the providing relief and all of that, I must say, colleagues, I have cried personally. I have shed tears hysterically, just looking at the submissions and people who are saying, my grandmother is diabetic. We don't have money and she needs to eat. Even if you just drop food parcels at the front of our door, that's all we need. You don't have to give us any money, So the impact is real and has been felt on the ground. It has also given me an opportunity to see how much work and events are being done in this country, because sometimes we have a narrow view of what we do, but there's a lot of events that people are being booked for every day, every weekend, every night. Right now, I'm involved in the study with some of the scholars at Harvard, as well as University of Pennsylvania, and in Europe, on just the nighttime economy. We are writing a chapter on the nighttime economy, and how those people who are perceived to be just in showbiz, how are they affected by the closure, the lockdown? I mean, we've got a curfew now up until 9 p.m. So whether you're a bartender at a club, a venue, whether you're the car guard who parks people at night when they come to come see shows in Braamfontein, and Jerome would know these areas, and in Paulo, because they come. What has happened to all of those people? The people in the margins and margins of the sector, who otherwise are not being given any relief because they are not in a form. The person who plays guitar at a parking lot, at a shopping mall, next to a pay station, the busker, So the impact, Herman, as we are asking, it's huge. And there are studies. I know that Music in Africa has done studies as well on that impact. And also SACO, the South African Cultural Observatory, has done that. Concerts SA has done impact study. And those results are still going to be out and be consolidated.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sitole, for that submission. And since you ended on a figures note, I would like to bring in David Alexander, who is with Share Publishing Africa, and being a full-service music publisher, we're very keen to know how things are going, how you're handling your clientele. Is this the time when more clients need to come in because things are tough and it looks like artists need to be a part of what you are championing and your objectives and your agenda? Yeah, welcome.
Thanks very much, Herman. It's nice to see so many familiar faces around this panel, and welcome to all of those who are watching. So we represent songwriters, and even though they may often be a subset of the same community that some of the other panelists have been talking about in terms of the live musicians, publishing income is only one of their revenue streams. And as Dr. Sitole was saying, the biggest one, the most immediate one, which is income from live performances, that has been shredded. In terms of publishing income, one of the things that we need to, or moving the publishing industry online, one of the things that we all experience across the continent are structural impediments, and they're all the same, but to different degrees in different countries. So electricity supply constraint, access to internet and broadband, and then the cost of data, which varies from country to country. Songwriters make their livings from collective management organizations, and most countries have at least one, sometimes two or three, depending on the different types of rights that they represent. Globally, the research says that the collective management organizations will be collecting 20 to 30% less in the next year than they did last year. That decrease comes mainly from two areas. One is from a complete fall off in live and general licensing. So in addition to the live events, this is licensing for restaurants, for taverns, for shopping centers that are using music in the background, where everyone is cutting costs. That's been one of the things that has been cut. The other is the downturn in advertising revenue. Many companies that are struggling financially have cut back on their marketing costs and are spending less to advertise on radio and television, and that has impacted on the money coming into the collective management organizations. Because companies are cutting back on advertising, that's impacted the synchronization licensing revenue component. So when we had our hard lockdown, certainly there were no film and TV shows in production. That was completely closed, but that sector has now started to open, and we're starting to see a slow return to some of that revenue. What has been buoyant is the income that comes from digital. So the alternative to buying or attending physical music events is to stream music via one of the platforms, whether it's Apple Music or Spotify. And there we've certainly seen an upswing across the African continent, both on the subscription services and those that are kind of freemium, like YouTube. As a publisher, Share Publishing's ability to deliver our services to our clients has not been interrupted to a huge degree. We took a decision about a year ago to move our servers to the cloud. So all of our royalty systems are in the cloud. The team moved very quickly to work remotely, and obviously subject to electricity, access to broadband, and cost of data, they are working effectively from home. We did open our offices briefly in the beginning of June when lockdown got to its lowest level, but it remains a refuge for people who don't have much space at home and need to get out of their home environment, but it's not open for clients and customers to walk in. Our ability to deliver service to our clients also is hampered by their ability to print, sign, and scan documentation. So that does have an impact, but not necessarily severe. In terms of how we're looking to expand into Africa, we're looking to utilize some of the digital platforms to take the place of those physical interactions. In respect of publishing, we're now operating a platform called Songtrust. So Songtrust is an online platform that songwriters can go and register for a small fee and collect their mechanical royalties, and the publisher share a performance income from around the world. We're also making available label services such as CD Baby and the AVL network of companies, Fuga, AdRev. These are label services depending on the size of label, the kind of monetization that you need. And there's also the ability to use our downtown neighboring rights network to collect your global neighboring rights from around the world. So switching from walking in to being able to do those, provide those services online to African clients wherever they are, that's taken a large amount of our time over the last couple of months, but is proving to be something that is useful to the African creatives. A lot of the promoters here have talked about the opportunities around online events. And obviously there's struggles to monetize them if you're using Facebook, Instagram, and you're kind of reliant on donations or what we've also invested in is a platform called Howler. Howler is an online ticketing and cashless environment that makes itself available to promoters. I've spent a lot of time working with the executives at Howler to help them get their music licenses in place for live events. They have an ability to sell tickets, create breakout rooms for multiple performances, exhibition space for exhibitors, where artists can sell their own merch directly. And this service doesn't compete with the promoters. It only provides a service to them. I think this complete range of online services is hopefully what is going to provide some ancillary revenue to make up for what has been lost, but it is not going to do that in the short to medium term. But I definitely think long term, COVID has encouraged everybody to move online quite quickly. Their ability to pivot and move into that space is different from industry to industry, but we were able to do that quite quickly, and we're grateful for that.
Thank you very much for that contribution, and I'm going to come back to Southern Africa, but right now I just want to head to Mauritius so that we can hear from Diran, who is with Momix, and Momix is the Mauritius Music Expo. Welcome, Diran. Please let us know
what you guys are working on
and how you intend to execute the expo. Is it happening? And also what is happening with the artists that you're working with under Juris Box, and also what is the landscape like in Mauritius at the moment?
So thank you, Herman, for having me. So like you said, Mauritius Music Expo, I guess we're going on a digital version this year. So we'll be hosting our 4th edition. Our situation in Mauritius is that we don't have any kind of sponsorship from the government or Ministry of Art and Culture. So it's kind of hard to host a physical version of Momix. Also, our airport is locked down, even if we are COVID-free for some weeks now. And so we're going towards a digital version, and it has been hard. It has been hard those past weeks. I'm not gonna lie, for us music industry players, and to the eye of the law and the government, the state of the artist doesn't exist. We don't have rights. We don't get any kind of funding or indemnities or whatever. So we are currently working on a Marshall Plan, if I can say, for artists. So like Sipo gave statistics and numbers, we're trying to come up with numbers to be able to submit the government. We currently don't know how many artists we have, how many this industry generates per year, and how many jobs are created, or and yeah, so we're trying to come up with studies, surveys, to be able to find solution, and also make sure that our rights are being respected. And yeah, so the situation in Mauritius, the bars and restaurants are open. People are able to circulate freely. And but I guess only the headliners are being hired. So the rest, which are considered informal workers, are left out. Mainly those who are working in the tourist industry. A lot of hotels are closing down, and yeah, it's kind of hard. I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of hard. So that's the current situation actually in Mauritius. Hopefully it'll get better, and I guess by September we're gonna know if our airport is going to open or not. But until then we are closed, and yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Darren. And now let's head to the Reunion Islands. And first, I think we're gonna listen to Jérôme Galabat, who is with the Sakifo Festival and also Sakifo Talent. So one, what is the plan with Sakifo coming up? I know that you're not a fan of this virtual editions and online festivals. You want to see and touch. And so what is your plan with the festival, with Sakifo Fest this year, and also with the talent, with Sakifo Talent? How are you, what is going on with your artists? How are they going through these times? What plan is there for them to survive this whole pandemic? And also, what is the landscape like in Reunion Islands with the venues, with people that are employed within the sector, with the lockdowns, and what is happening? Thank you.
Hello, Herman. Hello, everybody. Thank you for hosting us. As for Sakifo production, let me start maybe first with the situation in Reunion Island and then go on to the festival. Reunion Island is almost like the rest of France. Like we can almost live kind of normally, apart in one sector, which is the cultural industry, and specifically the music one, because the cinema and all of that have started again, but the live sector and live music sector is the last one that is with the nightlife closed. Basically, there's a few possibilities after the 31st of August to organize a certain amount of things, but there's a very little clarity on it. It's changing most of the time, and because there's defense council every 2 weeks, we just have a new government since 2 weeks, so this is very uncertain. We have a new Minister of Culture, which has made a lot of announcement quickly about festivals and things like that. So September should be a key period. But anyway, that is as for the global thing. Basically, from what I understand now, from the government strategy is that they are not going to do any shutdown anymore. They are now dealing with different places and different level of virus circulations and with different parameters, hospital capacities and things like that. So they are trying to set up a kind of a policy where they can be very precise in their future intervention, considering that they haven't been in the past when it all started. We had something like over 30,000 deaths in France. So that's where we are now. As per the circulation from other countries to France, there's differences in between what the EU countries to France, and even so with some specificity. Basically, the doctrine is about, like, when now very much about the testing. So if you can have a test 72 hours prior to entrance in the country, it can be fine. If you excluding 15 countries that has been considering with a fast acceleration of increase of cases, which is the case, for example, in the region for Madagascar and South Africa. But this is what is the situation now. Obviously, it can be different in 1 week, it can be different in 2 weeks, it can be different in 3, and so on and so on. So, and that has been going on since the very beginning. So our first reaction was to postpone our events, the festival, IOMA, but blah, blah, we'll talk about it after. And from end of May till September, and then discussing the situation again with the authorities to postpone it again to end of November. As a company, the losses are going to be huge, massive, like for everybody. It's been a survey in the syndicate in France, which is the biggest one for the live industry. There's 2 big syndicates, but that's the biggest one. And the survey just said that almost 51% of the companies will disappear in a year. 40% will be very fragilized with chances to disappear within the next 2 years. Only 9% were considered to be in capacity of surviving the next 2 years. So that's to give you a scale of the amount of things. So obviously in France, there's support from some artists that are with the system of intermittence. And that's already a lot of money that has been spent for the next year to secure that. There's a lot of talkings about other kind of support for the festival. None have been in place for now. For the touring, the support for the losses has been very bad. So there's still a lot of conversation, and the year is not finished. So we will see. The way the thing has been dealt with was like most of those people thought that pretty early 2020 would be dead, and they were all focused on 2021. My view was, and it still is, that if we wanted to talk about 2021, we desperately needed to save something in 2020. Otherwise, there would be no discussions in 2021 for the live sector, and we will be looking at 2022. Some of you have probably noticed that big agencies for big tours are now talking already about 2022 and postponing the shows that they have already postponing for 2021 to 2022. We kept on our position on the very few basic things, and very close to Yusuf Mahmoud, my dear friend. Salute, salam, my Yusuf. We believe that running a festival is not only putting a list of artists on the lineup, and therefore the online solution will never ever be a solution for ourselves. First of all, the festival is already online. You can watch the festival on TV, you can watch it on internet already for free. So what we are talking about now is how do certain amount of people can monetize the online better than what it was. And that maybe is a conversation we will have in the future. But for now, this is not what the festival is about. The festival is about something else. You cannot share an atmosphere in La Salle Verte online. There's not the smell of the curry and there's no sip of rum. So what's the point of doing it, you know? So that's why we're still on the fight on those things. So for now, we managed to have the authorization for 5,000 people per night event. We won't have the distanciation things because, like Yusuf, we don't want that. We have asked for 10,000 per night, and we will wait until the last minute, but we're ready to move from 5 to 10,000 very quickly. We will probably lose some money by doing it, but the point for us is not only the money side. So we will keep on fighting on that. And this is where we have just reopened the ticketing that was suspended so far, and with some very good results. People bought tickets. At the same time, we've maintained the possibility for the people that had already bought ticket to get refunds. And there is very, very, very little refund demand. From March till now, it's less than 20% of people asking for their money back. So there's a lot of Reunionese people that wants the festival to happen, wants to be part of it, no matter whom we will have on the lineup, basically. Obviously, there will be less international, but there will be still a lot of, we've decided to maintain our original lineup. And for example, even if the situation in South Africa and in Madagascar is at the moment complicated, well, the bands we have from South Africa are still maintained on the lineup until the very last minute, when we'll be definitely 100% sure we cannot host them. And same for the Malagasy and same from the Mauritius. Even if the airport from Mauritius is closed now and you can't fly from Mauritius, we decided to maintain the band on the lineup until the very last day. And that's for the festival. Basically, I can answer other questions, but from what I feel is, if we are successful in doing that festival in 2020, I suppose the Francophonie that we're running in March will happen the same way. And I suppose the Saki for next year will happen the same way, because what I believe is probably this pandemic situation will never stop until there is a vaccine. And therefore, that's going to probably take us another year, and hopefully only another year. And then what we believe is if we can find a way of surviving 2020 and surviving 2021, they'll probably will start again later to rebuild. And I believe we got talent, and our people and our team got talent, and our festival goers got appetite. So I think when the situation will be better, everybody will be there for it. Meanwhile, if there's a possibility of getting some fund relief or support for the festival or for the artists playing the festival via internet or other ways like that, obviously we will look into it, but we will never give any images from our festival to any of us platform for less than what it's real worth for us. Otherwise, it's rather zero than not enough.
That's the policy, a very strong one. And for the talent, quickly, as we're working with a lot of artists that has been facing a lot of difficulties as publisher or promoters or touring agent. Obviously, as touring agent, all our tour has been cancelled. We are busy now trying to save, transform one of the Bongisi with my band last tour with the band into maybe a solo tour with some of the venues in Europe. And we should know that very quickly now, but it's very unlikely. It's going to be difficult. If we do save that one, it'll be the only one. All the others have been cancelled or postponed to next year. And what we've been doing as publishers is trying to look after our artists and make sure they are safe and they have, enough revenues to face their situation. And funny enough, there's been a lot of artists knocking on our door on this aspect of the work, and we've been signing a lot of artists since March, mainly I think because of the philosophy of the company and people are buying into it than anything else.
Okay, thanks very much, Jérôme. Allow me to quickly invite Blond Blond to add on. Blond Blond works and runs the Indian Ocean music market together with Jérôme. Welcome, Blond Blond. Please let us know. I know that you've pushed IOMA. What are things looking like? What are you planning? What are you working on? And do you see IOMA happening physically when it happens? And how's that going to work?
Yeah, thank you, Arman. Hi, everyone. Hi, my friendly faces as well. Again, Jérôme already talked about a lot of things about reunion situation, about the COVID. And yes, we have a situation like pretty free here. So that's nice. And I was really touched by Sipo talking about the situation in South Africa, and it's very sad. I can imagine the situation is not exactly the same in the countries, even if the virus is the same. And about IOMA, yes, we decided to, with Jérôme, I take over IOMA alongside with Jérôme, of course, and to put it close to the Sakifo, like every time. So it's going to be 9th to 12th of November. Of course, we have we have difficulties about the bands coming from the different countries around. This is the main complicated situation, but we are hoping since the last time that we will host most of us. We hope so. And as Jérôme was saying about the musicians and the music industry in general, we have to help them, especially in this moment. The IOMA is a music market, so it's not exactly a festival. The economy is different. So in terms of funds, we can do it, and we have to do it whatever the situation. With showcases of Reunion and his band, of course, and some different countries around, as I was saying. Also, we'll try to make some online things like we already did, but maybe more this year, and maybe more connection with bands, with delegates, and everything like this. I will about IOMA. Yes, we still keep the 4 days of workshops and conferences and showcases like usual. Maybe the places, the venues will be different, but it's going to be quite the same. About the venue, because I also run a venue, I would say that we started to have small shows since early June. We were allowed to do it, but with health measures, of course. So that means that on my theater, 600 seats become 200 seats. So that's very complicated for big shows, of course. And so this is some measures we have to respect about hosting audiences. What can I say more than, Jérôme talked about a lot of things about Reunion. We have only one death here in Reunion about COVID, so that means that we are really protected. There was a delay between France and Europe and Reunion, so we are lucky about that, that we close the borders like very soon. And so that protects us, of course. But now we have to continue we have to open the flights with other countries very soon to continue the exchange with other countries and to receive the bands, of course, from Mauritius, from everywhere around the Indian Ocean, and also for coming from France and Europe for the other venues in Reunion, because of course the cultural environment is totally completely slow now, I would say. Yes, and about online support of or when we have the lockdown during 2 months, we thought about something in the internet for shows and everything, and I agree, of course, totally with Jérôme about that. We are made for gather people and not to be seated on somewhere to see a show, music show. So that was not the main interesting things, I guess, to do, and especially also because of the incomes about the rights. So I hope that we will make the concert and the shows and the festival with a lot of people very soon. Yes, we have to wait. It's changed so many times, and our French government is so shaking us on different side like this. So that means that we don't have really a roadbook to what's going to happen soon. Yeah, that's it. That's what I can say.
Thank you very much, Blanc. And still on the note of markets, I would like to invite Tony Mefe, who is from Cameroon, and Tony runs Scale Bantu. And it is a music market that is targeting female artists, majorly from Central African Republic. Yes, Tony, there's feedback coming in from your side. You're welcome, Tony.
Merci, Herman. J'espère que je me fais bien entendre. Contrairement aux autres, je suis obligé d'intervenir en français et je comprends la douleur de mon ami Sotiza Boussara, qui est souvent avec nous sur des rencontres avec les francophones. Bonjour, Youssouf.
Hi, I will be translating for you. So he will be speaking in French, but I will be translating in English right after.
Donc, je voudrais, avant de parler un peu de notre événement, de vous expliquer un peu les conditions globales de l'environnement de la culture en Afrique centrale en période de Covid-19, parce que ça me semble important pour bien comprendre notre action.
I will explain to you the conditions and how COVID is changing the culture right now in our country to start.
Vous savez, le Covid-19 arrive met un peu en exergue tout l'état qu'il y a dans notre environnement, c'est-à-dire que nous travaillons dans des pays où il y a tout le secteur culturel est dans l'informel, les artistes n'ont pas de statut, il n'existe pas des mesures qui accompagnent, qui permettent au milieu des affaires d'accompagner l'action artistique et culturelle. L'activité artistique et culturelle n'est même pas réglementée. Voilà un peu ce que le Covid-19 vient trouver. Et dans ces conditions, quand vous êtes dans l'informel et que vous vivez au jour le jour, c'est extrêmement difficile.
COVID-19 highlighted the fact that the music industry remained very informal and that we need much more support that's been given us so far.
Vous savez, nos gouvernements en Afrique centrale, qui est mon territoire de travail, ont encore du mal à intégrer la culture comme levier de développement économique. On regarde toujours ça à travers le prisme du social. On va aider quelques artistes à faire leurs obsèques, à se soigner. Et aujourd'hui, au Cameroun spécifiquement, nous sommes confrontés à une loi qui nous oblige même à rentrer 30 ans en arrière, qui va restreindre les libertés d'organisation, qui nous oblige, nous, à entrevoir la délocalisation de notre Salon international des voix de femmes.
Central Africa's government still struggles to see the importance of the culture. With everything happening right now, the rules have to take us back almost 30 years back so we can adapt.
Donc, pour revenir à l'escale bantou, donc dans ce contexte, nous, pour faire l'escale bantou, on s'est surtout appuyé sur la solidarité entre nous, acteurs culturels, entre les artistes, et on a eu la chance d'avoir des amis qui accompagnent notre initiative.
We're lucky to have friends who, and in our industry, we really support each other, whether it's the professional or the artists.
Tout ce que nous avons fait en 4 années, c'est-à-dire à peu près 200 jeunes artistes, opérateurs culturels, managers, journalistes culturels présents sur des grands événements comme Visa for Music, Massa, Mapas à Tenerife, Moka en France, c'est plus cette mutualisation des moyens, parce que ce n'est pas le reflet des moyens financiers dont nous disposons pour réaliser tout ça. C'est parce qu'il y a des gens qui sont solidaires de notre action qui ont permis qu'on puisse faire autant.
The solidarity between the people has helped us do many more things than any financial meaning could have.
Donc, solidarité, donc même pour organiser notre salon, on n'a pas, comme j'ai entendu quelques amis dire tout à l'heure, on n'a pas de réel soutien financier. On a davantage des amis qui vont accompagner, qui vont mettre à disposition une chambre d'hôtel, qui vont mettre à disposition le matériel de sonorisation, qui vont... bref, c'est un peu dans ces conditions que nous sommes obligés de travailler. Et heureusement, jusqu'aujourd'hui, ça se passe plutôt bien. Et donc,
we feel really blessed. Oh, sorry. We feel really blessed to have so many friends helping us right now, not necessarily with financial means, but more with giving us a hotel room or helping us with all the gear we would need. And we feel really blessed to be able to count on so many friends in solidarity.
Vous imaginez que c'était déjà dur avant le Covid-19. Donc, cette année, on avait prévu organiser le salon du 27 au 30 mai, mais Covid-19 oblige. Nous l'avons reporté pour du 27 au 30 octobre et nous avons été obligés de repenser entièrement tout le projet.
We were supposed to have the festival much earlier, but because of COVID-19, now the festival is postponed to 27th to 30th of October, and we have to rethink the whole project.
Donc, la prochaine édition du salon, on a réduit la programmation. On devait avoir 30 groupes. Là, nous avons ramené à 20. La plupart des des conférences, parce que nous faisons beaucoup de conférences. La plupart des conférences vont se passer en ligne. Heureusement qu'il y a des nouveaux outils que le digital va véritablement nous aider à valoriser, vont nous aider à valoriser notre événement. Les speed meetings se feront en ligne parce qu'on ne peut pas déplacer les gens, on ne peut pas couvrir la prise en charge de nos nombreux invités qu'on souhaitait faire une grande édition cette année. On va couvrir la prise en charge de nos invités. Donc, il y a une partie de l'activité qui va se passer sur le digital, en ligne.
So we were supposed to have 30 artists, but because of COVID-19, we reduced it to 20 artists. But we will keep a lot of things happening, including the online conferences and also the speed meetings.
Donc, speed meeting en ligne, conférence en ligne. L'autre avantage que nous apporte le digital, parce que je pense aussi que le Covid n'est pas venu qu'avec la pandémie. Elle nous a aussi offert un autre outil qui est ce digital, qui va nous permettre d'élargir l'audience de nos showcases. Parce que notre mission, c'est d'abord promouvoir un peu la nouvelle génération d'artistes africains qui montent. Donc, au-delà des scènes physiques qui vont se passer à Douala, on est en train d'imaginer comment est-ce que nous allons donner la possibilité à une dizaine d'être diffusés, d'être repris sur différents sites Internet pour élargir un peu l'audience et donner la possibilité à nos artistes d'être mieux connus dans le milieu dans la filière internationale de la musique.
So the positive side of COVID is the digital streaming also allow us to reach many more people, and also it's giving us the time to think about giving more highlight to the new generation and how we can do that with so many new meanings.
Donc, 24 artistes invités, 3 conférences qui vont porter essentiellement sur les problématiques actuelles, c'est-à-dire comment rentabiliser davantage la vente de musique en ligne, le secteur des affaires dans l'action artistique et culturelle, même si nous n'avons pas les outils administratifs et juridiques. Comment imaginer le développement de la circulation des artistes sur le continent après 2000. C'est un peu les différents thèmes que nous avons souhaité aborder sur cette édition du salon. Vraiment des thèmes qui nous permettent de rester proches des problématiques actuelles qui naissent pour la plupart un peu du Covid-19, mais qui ont un ancrage qui est beaucoup plus lointain.
I'm sorry, but the mic was breaking up, so I didn't get a lot of that. Yeah, COVID-19 is allowing us to still support the artists and imagine what's going to happen in the future and adapt.
Okay, Johnny, are you about to finish?
Oui, j'ai fini. Je voulais juste l'opportunité d'avoir différentes personnes ici. Merci Herman de m'avoir permis de prendre la parole. J'aimerais vous inviter à découvrir la nouvelle scène musicale africaine, du moins ce que nous proposons. Ce sera du 27 au 30 octobre sur nos pages Facebook et sur celle de Herman, de plusieurs amis de la filière internationale.
Well, thank you, Herman, for having me, and I hope you join us online from 27th to 30th of October to discover all the new generation of African music.
And before we move on to another region, I just wanted to make a quick submission on behalf of Luke Yachoku, who was meant to join us also from Cameroon, and Luke runs La Qualité Africa Music Market. He sent in his submission and he has requested that we read it to deliver it to whoever is tuned in, watching us, and to our contributors. And this is Luke Yachoku's contribution. He says that the health crisis has direct repercussions on the economy of the music industry in French-speaking Africa. Because of the cancellation of concerts and tours, the publishing sector generates very little income, and there is a question of quick finding an effective strategy for survival of this industry. The swift reaction of artists and producers in the music industry to invent digital solutions after the announcement of containment measures was well received and sufficiently demonstrates Africa's ability to adapt and know how to benefit from cyberspace. As Frank Alcid Kaku, director of Universal Music Africa, said, the continent is experiencing a record rate of mobile equipment due to drop in the cost of data. We adapt to the context thanks to the tools offered by the digital market on smartphones. The digital offer is democratic and concerts are accessible on platforms such as Dailymotion after their live broadcast. Labels and other entertainment entrepreneurs can develop partnerships with brands in order to be able to ensure artists' fees so that they can continue to live from their music. To monetize their creations, artists need to invent new modes of exposure to their audiences. Digital is a solution. We must insist on resilience of the world of arts and entertainment, which will inevitably pass through a new market, that of the digital economy via live Facebook and YouTube. The music industry in the 11 Central African countries deserve to be strongly supported in order to allow its actors to live from their professions and to continue to the socio-economic development of sub-regions. To better develop this sector, we need very solid institutions and regulatory structures to support the growing number of young creators on the continent. On the other hand, as Antonio Pedro, director of Sub-Regional Office of the United Nations Economic Commission, said, the culture industrial cluster, which would involve a spatial concentration of interconnected organizations, businesses, professionals, and practitioners in the creative industry, is a very important step to consider in the short term. He said, finally, I suggest the platform for cooperation and culture exchange in Africa, which is Art Connect Africa, which was set up in 2018 during MASA in Abidjan, and whose main goal is to interconnect African culture actors with a view to future collaborations. So that is a contribution from Luke Yechoku, who is also from Cameroon but couldn't be with us because of an emergency. Right now, I want to direct the conversation towards Malawi, and I would like to invite Menes Laplume, who runs an amazing festival within a refugee camp in Malawi. Welcome, Menes. We'd like to know how you are coping, how you're planning your event. Is it going to happen live since you are operating within a refugee camp? What is the plan, and what is the impact also? What is the landscape looking like in Malawi at the moment?
Okay. Thank you very much, Herman, and thank you very much for the opportunity, and thank you very much to everyone doing an amazing work with festivals that I've been following online over the couple of years. First of all, I will talk about the situation in Malawi. Things are a bit difficult in Malawi right now because Malawi was very late at starting taking measures about COVID-19. And it just this month that things have been taken seriously. And because we now have a lot of people dying in the country, most especially people that were involved in presidential campaigns last month. And this has made the government take the situation very seriously, and the new government will start putting in place measures which shows that this year things will not be possible. Festivals and live events will not be happening this year. So the situation is that many venues are closing and artists are not making money from live concerts. And also the other thing is that Malawi has the most expensive data price in Malawi, which is $27 per gigabyte. So it's very difficult for people to stream concerts online. So that's very difficult. And the situation at Dzaleka, at the refugee camp where we work, is also very difficult. As you know, a refugee camp is already a very difficult place to live in. And the Dzaleka refugee camp, which I work in and live in, is actually hosting 46,000 people right now. And the camp was only built for 10,000 people. That's 25 years ago. And today the camp has been growing and we have 45,000 people living in the camp. And people are very congested and they're at a big risk of contamination of the COVID-19. So many measures are put in place, no public gatherings and no people from outside the camp going to the camp to make sure that the camp is protected and people are not affected. Because of this, artists living in the refugee camp are very affected because they can't actually play anything outside the camp, and the only opportunity they have is the Tumaini Festival, which we organize every year in November. And so I will talk a bit about the Tumaini Festival. It's Tumaini Festival. We organize the festival to promote peaceful coexistence between refugees and the host community, and also to boost the economy of the community inside the refugee camp. And every year since 2014, we put together over 50,000 people. So having people coming from other countries around the world, people coming from all over Malawi, and also the refugees. So the festival hosts 50,000 people every year. And to have a physical event this year would be very tough because 50,000 people together in a refugee camp, if only one person is affected, all the festival goers will be affected. And as we do, because the refugee camp doesn't have hotel rooms around or anything, so the festival goers are hosted in refugee houses. So they pay for being hosted in refugee houses, and also the whole community creates a whole business, and also the festival employs refugees to work during that period of time. And all of this would be very dangerous to host people in houses if they are sick, or if anyone coming is sick. That would kill so many people in the camp, and which is very dangerous. So that's the situation we are living now. And economically, things are very difficult this year in Malawi, or even more at the refugee camp, because there is no people have to live on the aids from the UNHCR and WFP, and the festival we organize is the main money stream for refugees in the camp, and we are very sad that it's not going to happen, because we don't see the situation changing in Malawi until next year. And answering to the question of going online, this would be, we were thinking of doing a few events online and using them as a platform to fundraise for some refugee families and more vulnerable families, and also for some artists we work with, and organizing shows and putting a link on, I don't know, GoFundMe or any crowdfunding platform. But this also might be very difficult, as I have said already, that data is very expensive in Malawi for people to just stream a whole concert. That would be very difficult for people in Malawi. So we are just seeing if possible to not even go online and just focus our energy to be preparing the festival for next year. Yeah, so yeah.
Okay. And just in maybe half a second, could you let me know, let everyone know, sorry, about your condition? Because it's one thing to speak about the music industry and not speak to artists. So as a performing artist who's practicing, how are you dealing with the situation?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Thank you very much. As a performing artist, it's very tough. I haven't traveled this year, so all my travels have been cancelled for the year, and also I run a music venue in the Long Way. It's called Gritters, together with one of my friends, Neil Naya, and we just had a meeting today that we need to close the venue because we pay rent for the venue, for the space every month, and we don't see anything changing right now. So the way I'm coping is I'm taking advantage of this time to create more material and to make sure that after the pandemic, I can come out with new projects. Because when I look at the landscape of the digital performances in Malawi, it's very poor, and it's tough to raise money from it. So the only way I'm doing right now is to focus my energy on creating new material, so that after this time, I can be able to move on. Or if things change in Malawi, because we are protesting that the mobile operators we are protesting now. Since last week, there is an hashtag that is circulating in Malawi, data must fall. So we are protesting that the price of data should go down, so that everyone can be able to access internet, and then artists can live. Can try and make a living from online performances.
Thank you very much, Menes Laplume from Malawi. And now I want to bring on Jigston from Eswatini, the Kingdom of Eswatini, and Southern Africa, who is running MTN Bushfire. Yes, Jigs, you're most welcome. Let us know about how the two festivals that you are running, what's going on, what's your plan, what does the future look like? I know you've already postponed MTN Bushfire, although you managed to do an online edition, which was interesting. How are you planning for next year's edition, if it's going to happen? And also, how are you planning for the other festival that you are working on? Thank you.
Thank you, Herman, and greetings to everybody. Lovely to see you all. Hello to all the new faces. It's a wonder that we are able to connect via this digital platform, and I'm constantly amazed by what technology has to offer. Yes, unprecedented times, and just listening to everybody's stories, this brings a huge amount of concern, particularly with no real kind of definite timeline that we can work towards. And as you know, event practitioners, you know, it's all about a timeline. It's about definite dates and working towards an end goal. And so it obviously makes our lives incredibly difficult, and planning a real issue. Herman, as you mentioned, we cancelled or postponed MTN Bushfire this year. For those of you who don't know, MTN Bushfire is actually a week-long festival in Eswatini, formerly Swaziland, sandwiched in between South Africa and Mozambique. It's a multidisciplinary event with a very strong call to action, and we ask people to bring their fire to bushfire. Bringing your fire speaks to a collective response to positive social change. So the kind of objective scenario we find ourselves in at the moment is really an interesting one, and you know, for a lot of us within the festival, it speaks to kind of you know, looking to see how we can become more relevant as a festival platform, as a conscious festival platform, and how we can speak to some of the issues and the learnings that you know, hopefully we can take away from all of this. And a lot of this speaks to being more sustainable in our approach, not only as festival events, but as, you know, humanity as a whole. So yeah, you know, I think maybe just to backtrack a few months, you know, we were obviously in discussions with our local authorities regarding the cancellation of the event. I mean, who'd have thunk it, really? You know, we had just come back from Sauti Sau Busara, Yusuf's event, and you know, enjoyed the beautiful festivities on the island. And we walked back into a scenario where we were having to ask ourselves the very real questions of, you know, do we continue or do we cancel? And we got together with the Ministry of Tourism and Health, and it was very evident very early on that there was only one real decision to make, and that was to cancel. Just because of the huge numbers of people that we bring into Eswatini. You know, we have around 30,000 people attending our event from 66 countries globally. And, you know, basically events overtook us, the borders have been closed. And, you know, our decision was certainly vindicated. And of course, you know, we are seeing festivals having to cancel, postpone all over the world. It's a very trying situation. I think from our side, and I think this is probably something that we're all having to deal with, is kind of risk management, financial planning. You know, we're working from a worst case scenario. I think as Jerome's saying, you know, is there any kind of you know, guarantee that we'll be able to host events next year? You know, a lot of this depends on vaccines, and, you know, there's the sensibility and the kind of sensitivity around people traveling, and, you know, will they want to do that? I know there's an appetite for getting out there, but no doubt, you know, there are concerns. So, you know, we're trying to manage our scenario, our kind of situation from the worst case scenario. Will we be in a position to host our event in 2021? Will we be dealing with much fewer attendees? Budgeting for the additional expenses of managing event health and safety regulations. There's also the issues of the exchange rate. You know, the rand value has plummeted. You know, and I'm just kind of looking at my artist budget. From this year, we had a lot of international artists coming in, and, you know, with that huge variation now in exchange rates, it means that kind of budget has blown out of the water. You know, there's so many issues to consider, and you know, I would really want to say that we all have to be as circumspect as possible. We all need to be kind of managing risk as best we can if we want to remain afloat, and we've got to be as strategic as we can. We need to be able to kind of operate as a collective. I think this initiative is amazing. It allows us to engage. You know, I'd like to feel that we can continue this discussion, guys. We obviously have a regional network called DOADOA, and we were recently in touch just to say, you know, now more than ever, regional and continental global creative networks are going to be essential to kind of share information around health and safety guidelines, you know, how we share best practice, and you know, how we help each other up at this very difficult time. It's crucial that we're looking to work as a collective, and I really hope we are able to achieve that. I think one of the upsides of this all has been, you know, seeing how quickly people and organizations are responding to their circumstances, reimagining, realigning, and remaining relevant, developing new product. We've heard a lot about the online discussion today, and MTN Bushfire was able to host a digital event this year, which was an incredible accomplishment. It was a whole new environment for us. We developed 18 hours worth of content. You know, we were filming, you know, as the audio, visual aspects to it. It was scripting, it was editing, it was packaging, it was working with third parties then to kind of stream our broadcast. You know, whilst the digital format is by no ways a substitute for the real event, you know, and I think we're all aware of that. We talk about the intimacy and the participation and the energy, the rum has been mentioned. You know, these are things you just can't replicate. But you know, it was very important for us as a festival to challenge ourselves, to explore a new environment. Importantly, to engage with our festival goers, to remain relevant. We had a call to action, and we were able to raise 100,000 in Malangani for our festival beneficiaries. It was also about remaining top of mind, you know, with our market, and it was also about engaging new markets, because you know, there are people who have heard about Bushfire who haven't necessarily attended. So I think the online space certainly allowed us to reach people who haven't been to our event. We had over 5,000 people online, and 130,000 people watching via the local broadcaster, our television, Eswatini TV. I think, you know, the opportunities of developing content have come out of that. We're looking to package content, monetize it, and indeed we're kind of, you know, looking at the idea of maybe supplementing a digital live stream alongside our physical event in the future. There's obviously a whole lot of issues around, you know, rights, and you know, so we'll look into that. But you know, I think there's different ways to achieve that. You know, interviews with festival goers, you know, interviews with artists. It needn't necessarily be a lot of online, main stage content, but there's definitely an opportunity in that space that we will be pursuing. We have another event, Luju, a food and lifestyle festival that we've just postponed. I have a creative venue called House on Fire in Swaziland, which offers a year-round program. We've had to close that. We have a B&B, which we closed. Shops, which are open on the weekends. So we're tragically affected by what is essentially a kind of a tourist kind of service industry, and with our borders closed, it's extremely challenging. So yeah, I just want to say to everybody, you know, hang in there. Let's be creative as we can. You know, this is what we do. Let's challenge ourselves. But importantly, let's make sure that we are sharing information, that we're remaining relevant as platforms and institutions that support creative output. You know, how are we lifting, developing, and encouraging a local creative narrative? To all the festivals out there, long live, long live.
Thank you very much, Jigs. And on that note, still in Southern Africa, I would like to invite Eddie Hatitier from Music in Africa and Access as well, to let us know how you are planning to execute Access in Tanzania this year. I'm sure many people have already mentioned about the sector in Southern Africa, and yeah, our listeners would be interested in knowing how you are planning to execute Access in Tanzania. I don't know whether you're already down there, maybe, who knows? And also, how is Music in Africa, the foundation and the platform helping artists at the moment? I know that you did do some amazing work a few weeks ago, and also trying to reach out to make sure that artists are covered and get some sort of relief. Thank you. And also, just a quick one. This entire session is meant to end at 4:55. And I'm just humbly requesting that the remaining speakers, if they can keep it short or chap, that would be great, so that all the remaining speakers can get to speak. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, and greetings to everyone. So please just allow me to just briefly introduce what we do. So we do mainly two things. We run an online platform called musicinafrica.net, where we provide information and a platform for exchange and discovery of African content. On top of that, we also do quite a lot of offline projects, including training, facilitating exchanges and collaborations, concerts, sometimes mobility support, funding, and the likes. And I think I will talk about Access as one of the main activities that we do. Access, which is a Pan-African trade event, so music conference, quite a multifaceted event, including showcases, panel discussions, visits to local places, various forms of presentations, and then a lot of things happening, networking sessions and the likes. We do this event in a different African country every year, which alone is a huge challenge for us, especially within the context of how we are set up as an organization, with our head office here in Johannesburg, where I am talking from today. So Access already comes, as a very complicated project for us. And one of the challenges is that every year we have to learn a new country and the context. And we don't necessarily have a lot of resources to execute this event that we are generally very proud of in terms of how we have executed it, now going for its 4th edition. And we want to do it in Tanzania right at the end of November this year. I think at the beginning of the outbreak, we were very, very confident that being one of the very few events at the end of the year would be able to come out of this and do an event. But I must say now it's becoming less promising for us. And actually on 15 August, we're going to make an announcement at which point we would have looked at all the conditions that we've set for us to say if these conditions looking good, we would be able to continue with the event. So we are looking at more of a 50-50 situation. We generally want to agree with what everyone has been saying here, but we see a lot of value in digital, but it's not something for everyone. In fact, we've done a research just as we got into the outbreak here in South Africa, and with many countries starting to close down borders, etc., etc. We wanted to understand the financial impact of the pandemic on the African music sector, and we immediately understood and immediately confirmed what everyone was talking about. And the situation really, really is dire for many, many creatives. And then what Dr. Sipho Stole has just said is really, I think, the least that one can say. It's really bad. And I'll come to some of the responses that we are working on. So for us, we've also experienced on Music in Africa, which is a platform, a text-heavy website where people mostly go to read articles. We've experienced at least 30% decline in traffic. And we were wondering what was happening until we actually got to understand that a lot of our readers, which are mostly musicians, don't have data to access a website. So for access an event that we organize for, usually musicians and the sector, of course, at large, we don't think that a digital event would really tick most of our objectives. So I'll move to actually what we're also working on in the event that access happens or not. We think that what we need to really support is job creation in the market. And when we look at job creation, traditionally, we know that the jobs come from live performance for a majority of people in the live sector. And it's not just the musicians that we see in the front of the microphone every time. It's also the guys, the instrumentalists, the people working on sound, etc., etc. So we're actually very excited that we've managed to secure some funding to introduce a project in the next 2 weeks called Music in Africa Live, where we are going to be funding for the production of hopefully high quality productions across the continent. And I really want to invite, in fact, everyone on this panel today to say, please be on the lookout, because what we will be looking for, players who are already working on events and who have experience in producing high quality events. Why we're doing this is because we want to provide or to create jobs for musicians. And we also realize that it's not very easy, and we've done this many years, and we know this, for musicians to handle these kind of grants. So we would rather give the money to you, Herman, in Uganda, and you can prove that you're going to employ 80 musicians or whatever the number is. You have to present something that would show that you are providing value to stakeholders in your industry. So this is something that we're going to be launching in the next 2 weeks. And we are still obviously working around the logistics and many things, but it's just something that is very important, especially in the context of our discussion today. And we'll be sharing it. I hope it's okay to share it also with the group here, because we will be taking applications, and we were hoping that we would start giving out these micro and macro grants in the next 2 months going forward. We also have another project called Revenue Streams for African Musicians, which is a project funded by UNESCO and many other partners. And this is not really coming as a response to COVID, but something that we had been working on, something that connects very much with what everyone is saying, that we need to really develop an intimate understanding of the revenue streams in different African spaces. As we know, Africa is very complex. We are here in South Africa, and we know very well that the situation in Zimbabwe, Malawi, Zambia is completely different. And we just a few miles away from each other. And we had always understood that we need to develop some kind of analytical processes and systems for us to understand the statistics that are coming out of these revenue streams and be in a position to allow our musicians to make informed decisions with regards to the revenue streams that they would invest on. We now, I think the discussion has become even stronger around musicians have to diversify their income streams, but how do they do that? And without stats, without knowledge, I don't think that we can go very far. So this is a project that we've been working on, and we are fortunate that we just recently got the funding to actually start our pilot here in South Africa, starting also in August. So these are the ways that we are hoping that we can contribute and bring people together. And more importantly, also looking at how we can assist the sector in lobbying in the interest of musicians. I think one thing that is very clear, at least to me, is that, after COVID, or very soon, the discussion around what is due for the musician is going to get very serious. A lot of musicians are suffering because they are not getting what they must be getting. And that's for sure. Mismanagement across the country, the continent, is at a level where we've gotten used to it. But is that really right? And I think, when musicians are at this point, which I think is the lowest point in their careers in our lifetime, something must be done. And as the foundation, we're also looking at how we can use projects like this to first understand where exactly opportunities are and where the challenges are, so that we can also bring together partnerships and help musicians, as we look at, bringing these things, to the fore and hopefully make some change that is positive in the sector. Thank you so much for the invite.
Thank you very much, Eddie. And now, before we head to Tunisia, allow me to invite Melaku Bele from Addis Ababa from Ethiopia to join us and share about the landscape in Ethiopia at the moment, and also the work that you are doing with Fendika Cultural Center, as well as Ethiokala. And once again, I'm requesting that we keep it short because we still have many amazing contributors. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Herman, to invite me. And hello, everybody. I'm very happy to learn from you guys. So as you said, and also a lot of friends said, this COVID-19 affecting the artist, I think is here in Ethiopia is number one affected, because as all of Africa, and as mostly in Africa, what we have no government supporting, and here is in Ethiopia we have like for wedding or party or nightclub, and working that income generating to go to make album or touring, this way income. So when it's closed everything, after it's closed, they many business they starting again, but the nightclub still 4 months is closed. No concerts, not event, no event at all. So also we cancel a lot of traveling festival. After, so always what is a good thing is in art, always you try to have solution, not just losing hope. So we start this internet concert. Also is internet with before we don't have we every night is concert in Fandika Cultural Center. We have art exhibition we giving by free for artists. We don't charge, and we have poetry, and we have folk music, dance traditional every night, and we have in a week 3 bands, original arrangements, jazz, funky jazz, and Ethio color band. We perform. Also, we give for trailing some known artists. We don't have trailing place we give, so that's why. And in Fandika, we surviving 32 artists working, an employer, but without employer in a band, every 3 band playing, totally together we are more than 82 artists. So that all we surviving what is income generate the venue, we sell it honey wine and stuff that way. Or when I'm touring with my band and we come back and invest that way. So all is a stop. So that is the COVID-19 coming, we start processing Wi-Fi to have the venue. And after we starting every week, starting in a GoFundMe also, international friend is supporting. So every Friday, the idea is the artist to start to playing instead of stress, and also awareness what is the virus behave, to have clean hands, mask, to use it this way, and the same time the artist also to work because also to paid also. And but suddenly also in have a local ethnic complex also is the network also for 1 month is switch off, again become a problem for artists, and especially from indigenous traditional artists. They are very creative, very important, but under the society, and so they don't have already enough income. Now they can't pay the house rent. The town is very expensive now. In Addis Ababa, 10 million people living, and so that's why we start also this live concert, and still keeping also GoFundMe to pay for that. It's not possible, especially now 4 months, 3 months I did. After that is difficult, very sad, and many artists, especially legends, and even to eat, survival very difficult. So that's nobody see the government side. That's big challenge for us. I don't know the solution when coming, but we try our best to do it. And yeah, just to the same in world we have the same enemy at the same time. So this is what happened here in like others, my brother and sister around. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Melako. And now allow me to invite Imed Alibi from Tunisia, who is the director for the Qatar International Festival. Welcome, Imed. Would like to know the plans you have for your festival, the situation right now in Tunisia, and what people can expect.
Hi everyone, I'm very happy to see you guys.
Thank you.
I think since Visa for Music. The situation here is not the worst in the world. In terms of sanitary situation, it's really getting better. But as so many countries, there was a lot of venues, festivals postponed or completely cancelled, like mine. Started working on, since December for the program, then we canceled the international program, then we started working on 100% national festival, but even that it wasn't possible because there was no visibility till end of May. So most of the festivals, most of artists are jobless. I know this situation is similar to all of us. Here we started thinking about instead of doing festival, what we are going to work on, we still work on young musician, young artists problems. So we had this opportunity to at least think about the state of artists, which is still not achieved in Tunisia and neither in Algeria, Morocco. So we had this regional talk about this. Individually, I continued working on coaching young musicians and trying to find a different type of solutions to face these obstacles, because the most complicated thing is the socio-economic situation, which is really emergent. So for so many people, for so many artists, there is no way to talk about what is going to happen next year, in 2 years. Now I'm starving, I don't have to pay the rent, I don't have to pay food. So this is really one of the biggest problems. So there was an emergent fund looking for a national fund and try to ask businessmen and some other private people to contribute to it, or some international fund. So since March, there was this social program. And in parallel, as I said, we tried to find other alternatives, which is in the beginning was very digital, and so many, as in so many countries in the world, there was a lot of live stream concerts, live stream performances. But at the end, so many people also realized that that wasn't the solution. And for so many of us, if we talk about postponing a festival, we still, as Jerome said, we don't have this visibility, and especially for live concerts. So we cannot completely, you cannot at all in some kind of festival remove the live soul of it. I mean, this is the problem of social distancing, and this problem of lack of visibility. Actually, the same problem we have in France, because till now we don't know, and we don't have stand-up concerts. There is no real program about it. So we said, instead of falling into depression, which is the current situation in the whole world, we try at least to focus on the problem of decentralization, the problem, and actually we work on as with different partners in Morocco or in Algeria, and in different countries in African continent. We have the deficiencies, and we know exactly what are the problems and the problems that musicians and artists are facing. So we try at least to take advantage of the situation and to think about it, and to try to find also what is going to happen. As Jerome said again, we don't know when, until there is no vaccine, we don't know exactly what is the situation next year, next months. So I think now the diagnostic is here. We know that there is a big problem. There is a big consequence on art, and especially. So I think it's also the opportunity for this kind of meetings or for this kind of webinar is to try to find different alternative of uniting the efforts of these different partners and try to find new solutions in terms of partnership, funding, exchanging, because maybe we had these problems before, but the COVID has just revealed the fragility of the system, the fragility of the artistic sector, and the fragility of we're still very dependent of big firms of author rights in Europe. We still have problem of mobility. We still have problem of visa. We still have problem of transport. And I think maybe it's time now to think about real solution and real common work instead of waiting for some international funds and international solutions. We have our social economic model, and we have also our skills, and we have also our institutions. And it's time maybe for African countries to rely on these possibilities now. That's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You're welcome. And allow me to invite Hisham from Morocco, who runs a festival called Festival Boulevard, and also runs Bultek at the same time. Welcome, Hisham, and let us know what the situation is, whether you're having a festival and how the situation in Morocco is as well. I'm just requesting that we keep whoever is left to speak keeps it short, because we still have lots of people and it looks like we're running out of time. We're left with about 10 minutes or even less than that. Welcome.
Thank you, Herman. Hello, everybody. Happy to be here to assist and to share, to exchange with you. Beautiful lineup, and I will quickly maybe give the general situation in Morocco, and also in our project, the Boulevard Festival and the Bultek Centre de Musique Actuelle. Imad Alibi has gave our situation is also very close to Tunisia and North Africa. We share the same problem that artists are jobless now, not only artists, but a lot of people who are depending of these sectors, culture, events, and other sectors around. We expected before to organize the 20th edition of Boulevard Festival in September, and we obviously postponed it to next year. The same case for the Bultek. In the Bultek, we used to organize many concerts during the year, 1 or 2 small concerts by week. But also we have many studios for rehearsals and recording, and also for training. We do many activities during the year to give a center to the local musical scene in Morocco. In general, alternative music, but in Bultek we can find many different bands, from shabby music, traditional, popular, and contemporary, who came to the Bultek to rehearse during the year. But from last year, we stopped our programming because we are working on consolidating this venue who is depending financially, who is depending on the Boulevard Festival. Boulevard Festival, the major part of our finances from sponsorship, private companies, a small part from the public institutions in Morocco, and across this fund for El Boulevard, we finance this venue, Boultec, and another festival, a street art festival in Casablanca called Sbarabara. And today we have no difficult to have a vision, because we depend on many other depends, for example, from sponsorship, and our partners don't have a vision for this year. We hope we can do something for next year. We are now working on connecting with our partners to try to work for the next year. But just to talk about the situation in Morocco, we spent 3 months on confiné, on lockdown, and for now, less than 2 months, we opened the door inside, cafes, bar, restaurants, but no cultural venues, no gathering, rassemblement, more than I think 50 people. But just 2 years ago, the government, we had a new decision. 8 cities are closed because this week we have a rise of number of cases in COVID, a lot of cases, and it was a really emergency decision to close many cities as Casablanca, Tangier, Fes, Meknes, and others. We don't know what will happen next month, if we are going to a lockdown or if we are open the doors. The flights abroad Morocco are closed, so only for Moroccans who had to return back to the country. And as a structures, we decided not to work on activities, on programming for this year. No digital programming, but for us, it's time to reorganize ourselves. We have many projects as a Boulevard Festival and the venue, the Boultec, but also 2 other street art festivals, Sbarabara and Jidar. And we are working today, we're doing a back office works to prepare next year, to look for funds, not only for the festival, but for the Boultec, to get him more independence, and also to work on more than 20 years of archives. It's a big challenge for us to prepare this for next year, and I hope we can have more clear vision for what will happen. And it's clear that today the digital is a necessary option for everyone, for festivals, for structures, for artists, and we have to develop it more and more as a plan B, but not only as a plan B, as also a new way of communicating and trying to be creative and to find best ways and practical ways work, to do something, but it can never replace the physical face-to-face with the audience, the emotion that we have in a live, a small live or a big live stage.
Thank you very much, Hisham. I'm sorry I have to cut you off and bring on the last speaker because we are really out of time. We can only do one more person, unfortunately. And that is Spepelo Bele from Durban, who runs the Music in Bizo. Yes, you're most welcome, Spepelo.
Thank you for the opportunity, Herman. And thank you for the platform to DOADOA and all the partners, and greetings to everyone. So, to those who do not know, my name is Spepelo. I run a music business conference based in South Africa. It's called the Music in Bizo. It has been running for the past 11 years, so this is going to be the 12th one. The decision to go virtual. For us, it was a no-brainer. Eh? So there's a number of things that we wanted to do this year. Coming off 2019, which was for us fairly successful, and we, for the first time, we had real sponsorship coming in from government, right? And they joined the Music in Bizo. They started joining the Music in Bizo about 2 years back. So it was the second year, and they fully supported us last year. And we took quite a few gambles, which some worked out, and we were looking to build up on that. And 2020 was supposed to be the year, right? Because we started bringing in a number of elements as well. So this year we were looking at the film industry, which was going to form a big part of what we do. We were looking at the showcases, which in the previous years, we've never done them quite well, but we wanted to do them pretty well this year. And we started early from October last year with the call outs and getting things in order in preparation for this year. I think by February, we had managed to get a corporate sponsor on board. And we were looking to receive our first funds by the end of Feb. And then, yeah, we were just going to have a beautiful year. And that fell apart, right? And when that fell apart, we had to go back onto the drawing boards and look at the digital aspect on what do we deliver, right? So by the 11th year, Dame Bizo was quite established in terms of all the moving parts, all the sections, the panel discussions, exhibitions, everything. We were quite settling down, and we knew what and how to do things, right? And we started looking around and shopping and seeing what digital platforms are available that could accommodate the virtual conference, conference experience. And fortunately for us, I think 2 months later, we had decided on one. But by the time we've decided on this, the cases in South Africa were growing. Sponsors had pulled out, and a lot of things were happening, right? But we decided, you know what? Anyway, let's get this done, right?
Spepelo?
Yeah.
I'm humbly requesting that you announce either the dates for the Music in Bizo, because I'm being told they have to cut us off because time has run out. We already passed 3 minutes.
Okay. So the dates for the virtual Music in Bizo are from the 26th to the 29th of August, Wednesday to Saturday. It is online. We have the virtual platform up and running. I'll put the link below, and I'll share it with Herman as well. He can share it with everyone. We're still taking up exhibitors. If you want to join us, please do. We'll officially open for registration next week, and hopefully it will be a wonderful experience, a beautiful networking experience for everyone. And yeah, we look forward to engaging and meeting everyone. And yeah, good luck to everyone for the rest of the year.
Thank you very much, and thanks to everyone that joined in. I'm very sorry for the 5 contributors that didn't manage to speak. I'm sincerely sorry, and I'm also apologizing on behalf of whoever is out there that was watching this session. I'm requesting that if anyone out there that wants to know anything or get in touch, that's to the contributors, or any potentials out there that wants to make business with any of these people, reach out to us or reach out to Global Toronto. And I would like to welcome you to also subscribe if you haven't subscribed to Global Toronto 2020. You can head out to the website globaltoronto.org and make sure that you don't miss out on the rest of the days that the Global Toronto program is running. Thank you very much, everyone, guys, and let's stay in touch.